referral programs often are not creating word of mouth. They are capturing the word of mouth you're already getting, and they are like encouraging more word of mouth. If nobody likes your brand and everyone hates you, the best reward in the world isn't going to make them refer you.
Welcome to the Customer Marketing Catch-Up podcast. I'm Grace, your host and the content lead here at Customer Marketing Alliance. And today we're back for a very special episode. So one thing that keeps coming up again and again at our customer marketing summits is the gap between the customers who say they'd recommend you and the customers who actually do. My guest today has built a whole company around closing that gap. Kirsty Sharman is the founder of Referral Factory, a platform that's designed to help businesses rebuild and run their referral programs. And she's been working in people-powered marketing for over 15 years. But I'll stop yapping and let's actually get stuck into the episode, shall we? Hey, Kirsty, welcome to the Customer Marketing Catch-Up podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me today, Grace. I'm excited, to be here and talk more about customer marketing and referral marketing. But doing good. Excited for today.
Oh, brilliant. Because this is going to be a really special episode, I feel. We're going to be getting to something I think that a lot of customer marketers, I think, are struggling with. They know they should be doing, but perhaps they haven't quite cracked the code yet. And that's all about referral programs. And obviously, Referral Factory, here we are. Organic word of mouth is something that I suppose most marketers hope they happen. But I think let's focus on that word hope, because actually it can be done. It can be done. And you're here to talk all about that.
Yeah. And I think that's like a lot of the times what I end up chatting about on these podcasts or writing about as well, which is, a lot of marketers do. They leave word of mouth up to like a hope strategy. And I think a lot of them would be surprised if they actually actively turned it into a marketing channel and tried to manufacture it, how good the results could be. So hopefully I can inspire some marketers today to do that, to turn their customers into a marketing channel. And let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So I suppose before we actually get into the hows, the whats, I think our listeners would be quite curious to know actually, how did you start in referrals marketing? I believe you were in influencer marketing, if my research serves me well. But yeah, what made you move into the world of referrals?
Yeah, so that felt like quite a natural progression to me. So I started out almost 15 years ago in influencer marketing, and when I say I started out in influencer marketing, I mean, I was part of a team that launched an influencer marketing platform in Africa. It's now the largest influencer marketing platform in Africa. But back then, 15 years ago, we had to tell the journalists to use the word influencer marketing in the press release. It was like, it was a new thing. And really a lot of what my role was at that company was sales marketing. And I was responsible for, getting clients and generating revenue. And then what we would do is we would book influencers, and brands would sponsor influencers, and they would, have sponsored posts. And over time, over the course of the next few years, something I noticed a bit was like the quality, like the ROI or the return the brand was getting by booking these influencer posts was like going down. And I tried really hard to understand that. And one of the things I kind of came across was like just trust, like, what do people trust that they see online? And, back in the day, the first brand that ever paid an influencer probably got the best deal ever. But pretty soon consumers kind of figured this out, and they started to really understand that this was an ad. And then it became more and more difficult to compete. And really, again, it kind of goes back to, I've always been really excited of people as a marketing channel. Like, people have a social presence, and that can be a marketing channel. And I started in influencers because they had the biggest following. So it made sense that they could reach the most people. But, over your career and as you do more and more work with brands, I guess you learn new things. And something I learned was, like, what I really wanted to do was bring brands like the highest quality leads. So what I mean by that is like a real recommendation from someone who genuinely uses your product, who genuinely likes your brand, because that was really like the only thing people would trust anymore. And that's what kind of led me into the referral marketing space. When I started in the space, I was just doing growth consulting for a few brands, like after I had left the influencer marketing platform. And I was just building manual referral programs. And I was like, I couldn't believe almost the results, because we, had brands. I mean, I had one brand, it was like an app, and they had a couple of thousand users. And like, we just launched a referral program, and those 1,000 referred a few more thousand, and like it just grew. And I hadn't seen results like that before previously. Like it was like, it was like a drug for me as a marketer. And that's really what led me down the path of Referral Factory, and how I kind of came to launch Referral Factory. And that's essentially what we do now, is just help brands get more referrals from their customers. But yeah, it totally stemmed from a place of the return on investment that brands were getting by getting influencers to talk about them was like declining year on year. And they wanted that same like quality of marketing. And it made me think, who's the best person to make a referral for you? And like the honest answer to that is your customer. They love your brand. They use your brand. It's genuine. It's authentic. And when they say to their friend, like, you should use this product, like, it's real. It's not fake. And I wanted to help brands like unlock more of that. And yeah, that's what led me to Referral Factory.
It's so interesting, because I think, and I completely see that sort of tension you're describing, that I suppose authenticity versus reach. And I think we're seeing that like play out in like just general social media in general. You're seeing it filtering down to B2C as well, like brands moving away from like polished, perhaps influencer content, and actually, right, let's be customer led here.
And,
because it's more real.
I mean, you can kind of, when I started, and I remember the first influencer campaign I sold, it was like to a big telco brand. And I just looked at it as reach. I was like, okay, let's get these two influencers. They have 500,000 followers. Like, we could reach 1 million people. But like, we were reaching 1 million people with maybe like a weaker message, because it wasn't really authentic. But then I went and thought like, okay, this brand also has like 100,000 customers. And if they all have, X amount of followers, that's a lot more followers actually than these two influencers. So what could we do to help activate these customers? Because often their combined audience is bigger than it would be if you booked one or two influencers. As I said, you could kind of naturally see how it was a natural evolution. I just started with which people have the most reach. And then I went and said like, which group of people can have the most influence? And like, in order to get enough reach, you have to lump all your customers together to get a big base of people to ask to refer.
Brilliant. So that I can see clearly that's why you focused on referrals versus affiliates or influencers programs then, yeah.
Yeah, completely. And I think, I guess it started out as being, actually it was just Kirsty, the consultant, selling referral programs to brands. There was no Referral Factory. There was no software.
Got to start somewhere.
And then I realized very quickly that like, oh, wow, if we're asking 5,000 people to refer, and like they all have to get a referral link, and I have to track who refers who, and I have to manually issue rewards, this is a literal nightmare. Like it was a lot easier with influencers. There was only 2 of them. I didn't need software. But really, like, my life became hell, because I was basically selling custom referral programs to help brands grow, to, so they can activate their customers to refer. And really just the management was like a total nightmare. And like, I knew the channel worked, but it wasn't possible to bring this to hundreds or thousands of brands, because like, Kirsty was sitting in her basement in Amsterdam with spreadsheets trying to track all these referrals, and that was absolutely not scalable. And that's how I led to Referral Factory, where I really just thought like a SaaS solution would solve this problem. Like, if we could give customers an out-of-the-box solution where it's almost like they can just plug and play their referral program in, like, and we can take care of all of this like manual work, maybe more brands will try it. And once they try it, they'll get results. So I was less worried about them staying and more worried about convincing them to try it.
But that's an interesting point though, because I think so Customer Marketing Alliance, obviously, our community is built by customer marketers, and we hear a lot about discussions about referrals, customer referrals. And we found out that, just conversations at our summits and just general like conversations in our Slack community, like a lot of businesses just aren't running referral programs, or at least not the way they should be or ought to be, or with the full potential of what they could be. So even though perhaps the channel, it clearly works, right? It clearly works. But you're on this podcast to help people connect those dots. So like, what actually is going What do you think's perhaps going
Why
on there?
don't more brands have referral programs? Like, this is a question that commonly wakes me up at 2:00 in the morning, and it drives me to drink, because I'm like, guys, come on. But really, I would find that like a lot of brands actually still don't know this can be a marketing channel. I find they still think like word of mouth is just something that happens organically. And like it's this thing that happens like out in the darkness. And we know we get some referrals, but like we don't know who they're from or how it works. And they actually just don't really know that there's like tools that you can plug your website into and it auto builds your referral. Like they don't know this. So generally I find like, if you go to any brand and you say, would you like to get more referrals from your customers? I think I've never, ever heard anyone say no to that. Like never heard anyone say no to that. But when they realize what they have to do to have an always on referral program, sometimes it stops there. So the truth is like a referral program is an always on marketing channel. It plugs into your business. And if it's set up correctly, it's automated going forward, and it will just bring you a consistent trickle of like leads all the time. But you're going to do all the work in the front, and then you're going to reap the rewards like as the years go past. I guess very similar to SEO. Like SEO, you got to really do a lot of work, but then once you're ranking at the top, like smooth sailing. So I find that's where our kind of barrier to entry is. It's really where we even see the most churn at Referral Factory is customers sign up. They have great intention of launching their referral program, but they have to think about, what the offer is, what the reward is. They have to create their pages. They've got to set up their emails so that the right notifications go to the right person. It's a bit of work to set it up as all good things are. And really, I would say that I often just see brands like, first of all, a lot of brands like don't actually understand or they don't think that this is possible to really activate 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people as referrers. And then the second thing is that just feels overwhelming. You're like, how am I going to track it? Like, how am I going to reward it? Like, if we reward people, do we have to pay them tax? And as you ask those questions, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to put more ads in Facebook and like try and pump that. And that's really where we see it. And we obviously do see like Referral Factory exists because we do see the brands that are willing to do the work get the results. But it's a harder than normal channel to start. I think in reality, humans by nature will gravitate to a fast win, a quick win. And you can go to kind of Google Ads, you can put one video and you can put money in, and in 10 minutes your ads can be running. Whereas with a referral program, you're more than likely going to spend a few days. If you're a really large brand with lots of kind of compliance issues, you're probably going to spend a few weeks setting it up. And sometimes people just want a quicker win. But I always kind of want to encourage you. I always say, think about it the same way you think about SEO. Like the marketing team that invested into SEO today and then ranks at the top of Google tomorrow always gets the last laugh. And referrals are similar. Like imagine it like it's an always on marketing channel, sits in your business. If you've got it done correctly, you'll have apps in your product that ask for referrals, etc. And that really can drive a lot of value. But like great things aren't free and they aren't easy. And it means that you have to do a little bit of work to set it up. So I would say normally for a brand, you've got a couple of days work to get this up and running. And usually that's where people will stop. They want the referrals, but they don't necessarily want to do the work. And I think largely because they don't yet know what's on the other side. They haven't asked all their customers yet. So they don't understand the benefit of it. But I would say that if it's something you're not sure of, why don't you just send an email to say 50 of your customers and ask them for a referral or say, would they be interested in referring? Please reply. I promise you'll get 5, 6, maybe 10 replies of that. And that might be the motivation you need to say, okay, I now want to take this to all my customers and ask them to refer. But generally, I would say the thing that stops people is it's complex, it's difficult. I don't know how to do it. And it takes a couple of days to set up. And I do find, marketers might gravitate to maybe easier channels, but often those easier channels don't bring the results. So I guess, you got to, it works how you play. So I say invest. I'm a big believer of I would say my second favorite marketing channel is SEO, and Referral Factory does rank relatively well on SEO. But I did so much work in 2025 to now get those leads today. But yeah, I guess it's a different approach. And I've always really been really big into choosing the channels that will deliver the most quality and doing the work up front so that you can reap the rewards from that, like a compounding channel, if that makes sense. I love like evergreen marketing channels, compounding marketing channels. I've been in this game long enough to know that quick wins don't last. So I now have trained myself to kind of focus more on channels that will be evergreen, will compound, will grow over time. And that's worked out well for me.
No, I think that SEO comparison, by the way, is really useful. I think because like get rich quick schemes. Like, I mean, I'm not saying paid ads. I hope the paid team at the Alliance don't think they can hear this.
I mean, you run paid ads. There's a place for paid ads for sure.
Of course there is. Of course there is. But when you're being promised thousands of lead a month, it's easy to say yes to that, like you said, than spend, I don't know, a bit of elbow grease and spend 2 weeks perhaps setting something up if you're a large company. But yeah, the compounding benefit is I think it's a really good point. But it's just a shame that I suppose people aren't aware of that, and it's just right at their fingertips. But
yeah, I mean, I do think over time, if I just look at the general influence, like the general kind of trend over the years, like more and more every year brands are doing this. Like, I wouldn't say we're quite mainstream yet, but I really think in the next 3 to 4 years it could be. But we are seeing like an increase in demand every year, like. And generally like in the market, and I'm sure it's something our competitors are also seeing. But I think, maybe if you go back 5 years, well, there wasn't really software to take all the management away for you. So probably it did seem like an absolutely overwhelming task to ask many people to refer. And now as more tools pop up, more solutions come that make it easier for brands, I do believe we will see more brands kind of venture into the space.
I mean, I think it's a question. It's a sort of a point about general advocacy, because I think at our customer marketing summits, there's so many conversations we hear about, advocacy more broadly, like whether there's a gap between customers who say they'd recommend a product and the customers who actually do it. And I think so it's clear that the intention is there, but perhaps the mechanics behind it aren't quite evolved yet. But as you said, we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, you said something really interesting there. And that stat, I know, it's like 72% of your customer base is willing to refer you, and often like only 29% will. And like that gap is very easy to close. Just ask for referrals. That's how simple it is. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like a lot of brands leave it and they hope for referrals. But if you just ask, people know about it. And really, if people use your product and they're going to give you, and you're going to give them a reward, like they're really often so happy to refer. Like it's not a burden. Like they get something too. It's totally win-win for everyone in the situation.
Absolutely. Okay, right. A practical question. Been looking forward to asking you this. So let's say, one of our listeners, they're wanting to launch a referral program in maybe in the next 30 days, 60 days, something like that. In your experience, what does that actually look like?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I would say if you're looking at like a 30-day window, we'll say you have about like 4 weeks in that window. I'm of the belief that you can get to being launched and even optimizing within that 4-week period. Usually what brands would spend their first week on is designing their referral program. So this is like, your traditional strategy. Like, how would this work? What would we give the referrer? What would we give the friend who signs up, for example, the person they're referring? How would it work? When we get referred leads, where should they go? Like, it's your strategy. It's like figuring out everything how it's going to work and how you're going to motivate people to refer. Week 2 usually goes into building. And again, this comes back to like, if you're going to now really, let's just say you have 1,000 customers for the sake of this. If you're going to ask them all to refer, you have to give them a way to refer. You have to give them a referral link. They have to be able to share that link with a friend. That link has to be able to accept a lead. It has to send it into your CRM. So week 2 is your like infrastructure week. That's usually where you start actually taking what you planned the week before and bringing it into kind of making it a reality. So this is often where you'll actually go and you'll build your referral pages. You'll set up the email notifications. So if Kirsty refers Grace and Grace qualifies, then Kirsty would get an email that said, "Hey, thank you for this. Thank you for your referral. Here's your reward." And you'll kind of set all of that up. You also can do things like if you have a product, you can install widgets in your product so that when people log in, they get prompted to refer, make banners or widgets for your website to promote your referral program. This is week 2 is your infrastructure week. You make all of this. Then actually by week 3, you should be ready to launch. You've now planned how it's going to work. You've built all the things you need in week 2. I am assuming in week 2 that you're using like a plug and play software, like you're using an off-the-shelf solution. If you custom build it, which absolutely is possible, that week could be 1 month, but it's possible. You can also custom build all of this. But then week 3, this is the most important week. And this week is really all about how are you going to tell people about your referral program? So you've now designed it, you've built it, you've now got to tell everyone. So you've got to think like, should I send an email? Maybe send an email to all your customers. Hey, everyone, here's a referral program. Either give them their link or you can send them to like a portal where they could register to refer to get their own link. You want to go around to your customer support team, your sales team. You want to remind them when they speak to people, please remind them to refer, give them their referral links. You want to go to your marketing team. You want to put a banner in your newsletter. So every newsletter they get is reminding them to refer. You want to put, a pop-up in your product. So when they log in, they would be prompted to refer. This week is really important because, to be honest, the work you do in week 2, where you kind of building all the infrastructure for your referral program, is kind of pointless if no one knows about it. It's like the tree in the forest. What's that saying? Like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, like, did it really fall? And it's the same. Like you really got to do a lot of work to market your referral program and make sure that everyone knows about it. That would have really happened in week 3. And I would say that by week 4, you'll probably be getting referrals already. By that point, you can start looking at like, okay, well, this person referred, or I sent the email and X many people opened it. Like maybe I should up the reward. Remember, a referral program is also something you can improve ongoing. It's not a like do it once and can't touch it again. If you find your reward's not working, change it. Put a higher one. But I would say like by week 4, you actually should start having some referrals already because you've asked in week 3. And usually this is the point where marketers do what we do. We try and kind of understand what's working, what's not, like optimizing it. And really from week 5, 6, you almost should be through those optimization loops. But I'm really like, you can build and launch a referral program absolutely in a month. Like, I would say the only brands that would maybe have a problem with that timeline might be if you like a heavy enterprise grade brand where you have compliance issues. You need to make sure your software provider is GDPR compliant, etc. There are some, in that case, you might be more delayed because you basically have to get compliance to sign off that you're doing this, etc. But if you are, middle-sized brand, large-sized brand, you have the benefit of being able to like wing it a bit. Absolutely, you should be launched within a month and already generating referrals.
That's so interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, if you're in a company with a lot of red tape, it just things naturally, whether it's an internal sign-off
all the
process,
quick setup tools in the world, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, it's always expect a delay on that one. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so interesting to me. But I actually haven't asked you this yet. What is it about Referral Factory? How does Referral Factory actually work then? Just coming off that question there, I think it'd be quite helpful to like hear about. I don't know, listeners might be thinking, okay, that's how I can create it in 30 days. But yeah.
So when I talk about you basically launching by week 3, I'm assuming that you're using Referral Factory because essentially what we do is like we take away all the manual work. We are a plug-and-play solution. You sign up to Referral Factory and you essentially would use like our pre-built referral program templates. You can obviously edit them, customize them. They look totally like your brand. But essentially our software is like end-to-end, like building and promoting your referral program, all the tools you need to do that, tracking your referrals, understanding who referred who and optimizing it, all the tools to do that. Plus, then we have like a rewards basket. We've got over 200 different types of rewards and incentives that you can offer to people to do referrals. So, when I started Referral Factory, it goes back to the beginning of the conversation. The main problem I wanted to solve was I really believed like, if I could just make this easy for people to launch, they'll get referrals and they'll understand the value of the channel. And in a nutshell, that's what Referral Factory tries to do. We try to just take away the technical part, the difficult part, make it as easy as possible for you. Like essentially it's pre-built referral program infrastructure, and you go in and you put your brand on everything, and you essentially using our technology, but your customers don't know because it has your brand and your URL, so they don't really know. And it's just like a shortcut really to not have to do it all yourself.
Want more people talking about your business, customers, affiliates, creators? Referral Factory brings it all together. It's your all-in-one platform to build customer referral programs. Sync your contacts, embed our software in your platform, and ask people to refer on autopilot. We offer a fully automated referral program, custom branded, built with AI, ready in minutes. Just enter your website. Our AI builds you a custom branded referral program, writes your copy, and gets you ready to launch fast. Invite your customers to refer and generate up to 30% more leads every year. All you need to do is launch. With Referral Factory, you can design referral pages, pop-ups, and widgets that match your brand exactly. Plus, set up email notifications, choose from 20+ languages, and use smart triggers to ask for a referral at the perfect time. Track who referred who signed up, and who converted automatically. Integrate with HubSpot, Stripe, Salesforce, ServiceTitan, N8N, Zapier, and more. We also offer a REST API. Choose from 200+ reward options, including cash, gift cards, discounts, tokens, or connect your own rewards using Tremendous, PayPal, N8N, Make, and more. Oh, and we're ISO and SOC 2 certified, so you can launch with confidence knowing your data is secure. Referral Factory makes it easy to build referral programs, ask people to refer, get more leads, and grow. Visit Referral Factory to get started.
Yeah, so it sounds like just launch it then. Essentially, if you're looking to look, it sounds like a lot of the hard work has been done. Like based on what you're saying, yeah.
That's what we've kind of tried to take away from marketers as much as we can.
Exactly, yeah. But I suppose follow-up question. Again, in your experience, what would you say like just out and out kills a referral program before it even gets going? You know, is it like do you see maybe a design mistake? I don't know.
Yeah. So like, great question. And if any of the listeners today are paying attention and they remember one thing, I would say it should be this. You can figure out all the rest of the stuff, like how to track it, and like you can Google that. But like the one design flaw I see many brands make, and if they just didn't make this, like it would be incredible. So I want to just like communicate this, which is your customers probably aren't salespeople by default. You know, one or two of them might be a car salesman, but like generally they're not. They're just regular people. They use your brand. And one of the mistakes I see is people going to their customers and saying, hey, if you refer a friend, I'll give you, say, $100 reward. Okay. Then that person's like, okay, cool, I want the $100. Okay, but like, oh, this is a bit awkward. Like, what do I go to my friend and like, do I give him a presentation? Like, how do I do this? It makes it really awkward. But what totally changes the game is if you give your referrer something to give away. So instead of saying to me, imagine I'm the referrer, instead of saying to me, hey, Kirsty, if you refer a friend, I'll give you $100. You say to me, hey, Kirsty, if you refer a friend, they will get 20% off because they used your link. And you know, if they become a customer of ours, we'll give you $100. Now, all of a sudden, I am giving something to my friend. I'm not selling your brand. I'm not becoming a salesperson. I'm really motivated because I'm actually giving my friend a benefit. Like my friend is getting the special benefit that they couldn't get if they went and Googled your brand. So that for me is like how you design your referral program. Always, always, always you have to reward the referrer, but even more importantly, you need an incentive for the person that's being invited. And why that incentive is important is because it means that as the referrer, I'm now giving something to my friend. I'm not selling something to my friend. I'm giving them something, and if they accept that gift or that offer, cool, I get a benefit. Like, that's fine. But it just makes it a much more like natural conversation and much easier for me to introduce my product to your brand. I mean, to my friend, much easier for me to talk about you at a dinner table. Hey guys, don't forget to use my link. I also look cool. You know what I mean? Like I now, because you know me, you can get 20% off. Because you know me, you'll get your plan upgraded. It almost motivates me to overshare and try and tell my friends about this. So I would say that for me is like, we call this a double-sided referral program. That's generally the term. Sometimes people call it a give and get. But I almost like, actually with Referral Factory, when you come on, like our whole system is designed on the fact that you will have an offer. You will give you are going to give something to the person invited. And if they accept it, the person referring will get a reward. And we almost like force our customers into that channel. And why we do that is because it just gets vastly better results, like vastly better results. The minute you can say to all your customers, hey, why don't you go give this to your friend? Like they share it on social. They're so happy to share it. Like they don't feel like a salesperson. They feel like they're giving their friend a gift. And that for me is like, if you get that right, it's like almost impossible that it doesn't work, because people then become massively motivated to start spreading the word about your business and telling their friends. And if you get that wrong, you create an awkward situation where even though people might want to refer you, they maybe don't know how. They maybe don't know how to bring it up. It's hard to bring it into a conversation because I look like I'm just trying to sell something to my friend. So I would say that like for me is really important. And like if people want to do research on that, like it's called either a give or get referral program or a double-sided referral program. But that's what you want to be running like as much as humanly possible. You will genuinely get better results. Your customers will be happier. Their friends will be happier. You will be happier. It's a win-win situation. And it's just makes it much more organic to actually go and tell my friends about your business.
Oh, completely. Like no one wants to feel like they're getting a message or an email or something that sounds very like, I don't know, Facebook anti, where it's just like forwarded many times. Like this is so completely impersonal. Like I don't think you're thinking about me at all.
You've got to design the referral experience. You've got to make it easy. You've got to make it flow.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's just kind of maps directly a little bit how just general advocacy programs work more broadly. Like the customer needs to lead with something genuinely useful and no sales pitch and like exactly what you said. But I suppose what about I suppose I'm thinking now, what about the rewards themselves? Like you mentioned the monetary, was it $100 something like that?
$100, for example. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of like rewards, I think the best information to give you is possibly like, what are our top 3? So we've got thousands of referral programs running off the back of Referral Factory now, like millions of referrers. So I think we have enough data to finally like know what really drives engagement or not. And towards the end of the last year, we pulled some data on the best performing referral programs. And number 1, top reward drives most referrals, cash. Doesn't need to be cash to a bank account. It's very often like cash in the form of a digital Visa card or digital MasterCard or something like that. But basically a reward that you give to someone that's like no conditions, you know, like it's do what they want with it. That tends to work the best. Second is gift cards. Like an Amazon gift card is always a popular one, really, probably our most popular gift card. But Amazon gift cards are also really like, sorry, not Amazon, just gift cards in general are like also a good like secondary reward. And then in third place came like discounts and credits. This also is something that drives referrals. I would still say like cash, gift cards are going to be your best bet to actually drive engagement, but sometimes also discounts work. I must, if you don't mind, if I can just add one little tip here, be careful with discounts. And what I mean by this is if you're running a B2C referral program and you're saying like, hey, refer your friend to buy some shoes and then you'll get a discount, that's okay because the discount is like cash for me. So if I refer my friend and they buy some shoes, I'm choosing shoes as an example, and I say I get a $50 credit, and when I come back to your store and buy again, that's like real cash for me. But where discounts don't work and credits don't work is in a B2B space. So where you have a B2B referral program and you have I'm making a referral. So I'm trying to think of it I don't want to use Referral Factory as an example. Let's use like HubSpot as a marketing tool. Like if I'm making a referral, so say I work for Referral Factory, HubSpot says to me, hey, refer people to us and, you can get a reward. And I go and like refer my friend to HubSpot. But the reward is a discount on my subscription at HubSpot. Like I don't pay the subscription. Like my business that I work for pays the subscription. So when you're in B2B, I always say like, don't use discounts, because why is the discount doesn't benefit the person who made the referral. It benefits the company they work for. The company doesn't care, but now the person has like no motivation to make a referral because they won't get anything. Like, I think it's pretty safe to say as an employee, like no employee really cares if the company is going to save $200 on their subscription next month or $100 on their subscription. It doesn't benefit them. So when you're in B2B, I would say try with cash, try with gift cards, and always try and reward the person making the referral. So if I make the referral, I should get the reward, not the company I work for getting a discount off the next month. You create like a disconnect where there's then no motivation for me to make a referral actually because I won't get a reward. But I would say like those are the top three, like cash, then gift cards, and discounts also really work well, but with the exception of like take B2B out of it. I would say like discounts don't work in B2B. And then I would also say we might have some businesses kind of listening in today or some marketers that work for SaaS companies or subscription companies. It's also like really popular subscription companies to give like ongoing rewards. So, refer someone and get, a $20 Starbucks voucher every month that they stay a customer or something like that. That does tend to work also in SaaS. And I see, it's a bit newer, but I see that working like more and more now that it's starting to work. Like you reward someone every month that they stay a customer rather than just like a once-off reward. And that means you can give them a higher value reward over time, which is quite motivating.
Completely. But your B2B point's really interesting. I think, well, particularly for Customer Marketing Alliance, I would say largely our audience is B2B, but we do have a lot of B2C. But like we talk a lot about in the CMA community about like what generally motivates advocates. And I think it's always, like you said, like personal recognition over company benefit. I think there was I was doing a bit of research for this episode, and one of us, I can't remember the exact, one speaker at our summit said like, help your advocates build their own professional brand, right? Rather than think about your employees' metrics, So I think the same logic, I think you can take that logic to what you're talking about with the referral awards. Like, yeah, I think you got to switch the onus a bit into actually what is the outcome for your advocate? 100%. What is the result for your,
Yeah, and I would say like one of our top performing referral programs actually, and they're a company in the UK, and when they came to us, I was a bit like I'm unsure this is going to work because it was new for me too, and we're so lucky to have them as a client because we've learned from them. But they are essentially B2B, and it's a fuel card company. Like it's fuel cards for businesses, but the referrals are happening between the drivers. They're not happening between the businesses. So we're like incentivizing the driver to say, hey, do you know any other drivers that also drive vans in this area? If you do, tell them to recruit their business. And if their business purchases this fuel card, we'll give you £250 Amazon voucher. They're going and telling all their driver friends. Their driver friends then go to the boss and say, hey, I need this fuel card from this company. It doesn't cost us anything. Let's sign up to it. And then the driver's getting a reward. So it's a good example of a B2B space where, if you rewarded the fuel card company, like why would the driver have a motivation to go tell his friend? Like he wouldn't. And especially in B2B, I think this is like even more important because people often hang out with similar people to them. So I am a marketer by trade, actually, got into tech and building software, but like my background is marketing. If you go and look at the most amount of people I know, they are marketers. Because over the course of my career, I've met more and more marketers. So in B2B, it's like the perfect place because your customers very, very likely know other customers. Like they know other people who are very similar to them, which means they will be a great customer for you. So motivate that person to introduce you. Stop worrying about rewarding the company they work for. That's not going to drive any kind of any referrals. What you want to do is you want to say, hey, if you know other people in the industry like you, tell them about our business and we'll reward you. So it's maybe a little bit more tricky, but I would say like, I love B2B referral programs because of exactly that. Like we all know people similar to us in our professional network. And it's, for me, just this like untapped marketing channel that like if you're not asking your customers if they know other people who are similar to them, I personally think you're leaving money on the table.
Oh, I completely agree. There was something you actually mentioned just before. I think it was your answer before. And I kind of wanted, like a little kernel, to just ask you a bit more about that, there's something you mentioned where it was feeling awkward about asking customers to refer. Like it's a bit, you mentioned people don't want to feel salesy or pushy. Like, is there like, do you come across that a lot, would you say? Or like, kind of how do you get over that? I think you touched on it a little bit, but I'm quite keen to know how you put that.
I mean, my honest opinion, we do come across this a lot. And I would say it's one of our barriers to entry. So like the same way that people maybe aren't keen to do the work to get set up, they also feel a bit shy to ask for referrals. Like, and they're uncomfortable, and will it be awkward? And like, should they ask their customers for things? I'm going to be quite blunt here that this is in your head. This is not a real problem for marketing. Okay. I'm just bluntly saying it because I'm like, I promise it's in your head. And often we think that as marketers, we think that this is like awkward to ask. But remember that if your program is designed correctly, you're going to go to one of your customers and you're going to say, hey, would you like to offer your friend a benefit? And if your friend takes that benefit, I'll give you $200. Do you know how happy that customer is going to be? Like, yeah, that's not bad for them. That's good for them. Like, so good for them. So I think as marketers, we need to get out of our heads like that this is an issue, because I actually think it isn't an issue. And I think when you design your program really well, that you have an incentive and you have a reward. You create like a really good ecosystem where everybody is winning. So it's totally okay to just ask for referrals because they will win. Their friends will win. You are essentially like giving them something, like give it to them as much as possible. They'll just be happier. But I really do find that like sometimes people feel a bit awkward to ask. And, I guess as humans, it's also like, we're afraid of doing things that we haven't done before. And, the first time I started maybe like going on podcasts, I'd be so nervous. And the first time I got on stage, I'd be so nervous. And then I did it and I realized like it wasn't actually a big deal. And I think it's the same with referrals. Like if you're afraid to ask, my recommendation is just go ask a small segment. Your risk will be low, but don't not ask. Like go and say like take 2% of your customer base and just like send them an email and say, would you be open to making a referral if we offered you this reward and your friend? Just ask. Like you'll find that the fear is more likely in your head. And when you ask, you'll get quite a positive response. And that's often what gives you the confidence to like go balls to the walls and kind of, pursue the strategy is maybe you don't have to ask everyone up front. You just have to ask a few people to help with your confidence so that you understand like, okay, people are excited about this. Like, I don't know why I'm scared to ask them. Then you get excited. Then you ask everyone. I guess that's when the results come.
No, that makes sense. I think also in a marketing background, I think everyone's, we're so switched on to being sold to. I feel like that's the thing, overarching thing. But I get it. Like it's mutually beneficial. So yeah.
Yeah. And if you design your program well, that everybody's winning, it makes asking 10 times easier. 10 times easier.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, when we spoke last week, you mentioned, would you be able to give like an example of like a referral program that's, like a really tangible program with some results? I think we discussed this and like, it'd be quite cool to hear about that.
Yeah. I told you about, like we have a really nice example maybe of an education. So if you go to our website as well, I'm sure we'll say that at the end, like we do have some case studies like across various industries. So you could find one that's maybe more tailored to you. But I think like one of my nicest stories is we have a customer in the USA. They're an online learning platform. Like referrals just work incredibly well in education. Like, and They were like a relatively like new company with like, I think they had a few classes, like they didn't have a big, they were not huge. And they didn't really have a marketing team. And they came to us and they said, like, we want to launch a referral program. And we kind of worked with them to help them figure out how it worked. But we really just kept it simple. Like, refer a friend to take a class. And if they take a class, your next class will be free. And this education like platform made money off people taking multiple classes. So it was really okay to give one away for free, one away for free. By the end of 10 months, they generated like 2,000, just like over 2,000 leads, of which more than half of those then converted into paying customers. So they generated over 1,000 paying customers, like in 10, like it's like over 100 a month for, and not for a new business is big. Like, and all they did was just put a simple referral loop into their flow. They had no marketing team. They didn't do any other marketing channel. All they did was try and turn one customer into two. And they actively did that. And after 10 months, their results compounded into something really meaningful. And yeah, I would say for them, it's not like huge results. We've got clients that have thousands of referrals. But for me, that was like a small business that essentially didn't have to hire a marketing team. They just use customer referrals really smartly. And they made sure that they asked in person in the class, like, do you know anyone else? Send them to let them have a free class. Those people came, had a free class, loved it, decided to pay and continue. And over 2,000 leads and 1,000 converted customers later, without any marketing team and like hardly any actually zero marketing spend at all, because they just gave away a free class and a free class. Like, I think that's a pretty good result.
Cool. No, that was a really interesting point, Kirsty. Thank you for sharing that. I suppose I think our listeners probably would be quite keen to know how you make the business case internally for, leadership. So if you're, the point you just made was really, really, really interesting, but like what numbers do you think our audience of customer marketers, what do you think they should be taking to their leadership team?
Yeah. And this is always the hardest part, because often marketers are the ones who are keen to do this, and the leadership team is the one that kind of blocks it, because it's a sensitive thing, involving your customers in your marketing. They feel a bit like unsure about it. They don't know if they want to take a risk. But I would always just go into I used to be the person who did this, by the way, because before Referral Factory existed, we were a software business. Like, I was just a consultant. Like, that's all I did. And I would go into these exco meetings and I would just say like one thing. And I would say like, would you be interested in getting 20% more leads next year than we did this year?
Yeah. Obviously.
Who says no? They always say, okay, the thing we need to do to get that is to launch a referral program. Can I get sign off? And that's what we find. So like, we've looked at a lot of data and we find like customers that like actively promote their referral program generally get about 20% more leads every year. So like if you launch this year, like if you say we get 1,000 leads this year, I launch a referral program on January the 1st, more than likely I'll get 1,200 leads next year. And that's not accounting for like your other marketing channels you're going to spend more on, so it will go up. But it's a really simple thing. And like, you can just get 20% more leads every year just by like putting referral infrastructure and referral loops into your business, which means when you get one customer, you ask them to refer another customer, and not everyone refers, not everyone partakes. Like, but it's really like you do nothing once it's set up. You set it up, it's fully automated afterwards, and customers slowly can just make referrals to you over time, and you get this constant kind of stream of new leads coming in, which generally are very high quality because they're peer recommendations. So that would be like as simple as I would keep it. I think some people sometimes like get maybe confused in the pitching. I won't say confused, that's the wrong word, but they'll say like, we need this referral program to drive loyalty, to drive engagement. But like, a referral program is a lead generation channel. It generates leads. It generates revenue. It needs to be treated accordingly. Like, and that's why I would always start with, do you want to get more, 20% more leads every, next year? And if you know how much your average value of a lead is, you could even put a monetary number on that. Would you like to generate X amount more revenue next year? They would say yes. You'll say, all right, I know how to do that. I need you to sign on this paper so I can launch a referral program. But that's usually where I start. Is I try and advise my kind of clients, like, don't pitch it as a like loyalty thing, something that brings higher paying. It does. It makes your customers more loyal. You often get customers who spend more. There's like a million other benefits I could list. But when it comes to Exco, they care about one thing, and that's money. And what you want to do is you want to show them, like, if we do this, like, we can get X. Do you want X? Yes, you do. Great, sign. And so I always say, equate it to money. Treat it like a lead generation team, like a lead generation engine or lead generation channel, rather than like a channel. Like usually I would say your referral program falls under lead gen. Technically, it falls under customer advocacy because it is your customers and it's categorized as that. Yeah. You often can get better sign off from Exco if you put it in the lead gen bucket.
That's a really interesting reframe. And I think our listeners would really, really like latch onto that, because constant conversations we hear in the community is that proving the ROI of customer-led, let's call it customer-led activity, is something that I think it comes up a lot at each one of our summits. And it's like a real challenge trying to prove ROI. I couldn't, the amount of conversations or amount of articles we've got about that, about on our site about proving ROI. I think there's a speaker at one of our last summits who, made the point about NPS, I think, and, how NPS asks, would you recommend us? But the more useful question is, did you recommend us?
Exactly. Did you recommend us? If you didn't, why not? And I guarantee it's because you didn't.
Yeah, because there's a big gap there between those two things, right? So I think it's just an interesting, really, really brilliant point you just made there. I'm conscious that we're nearly out of time there, but I kind of wanted to just sort of finish on asking you, really, for customer marketers who have advocacy programs running, you've got the case studies, references, community, the things that people think about associate with customer marketers. But where do you think a referral program fits in alongside of that?
So first of all, customer marketers, I love you, because I like, it's something that like I think is so important in a business, like telling stories to your customers, communicating to your customers. Like I often find as marketers, we focus so much on getting customers, we forget about keeping them. And keeping them often brings you more money than getting more. So it's such an important like discipline in marketing, I feel, and really doesn't get the credit it deserves. And because of this, it's because it's like quite a hard thing to prove. But that's where I feel like referral programs can really be helpful to customer marketers. Because a referral program, like, for example, inside Referral Factory, you have a dashboard. Dashboard is like, today you've generated X referrals. This is how many have qualified, and that's how much money you've generated from them. So I think that as a customer marketer, you're doing a lot of like difficult work that is like hidden work, and you can't like track it. But a referral program is highly trackable. So adding that into your mix might actually be helpful to get your kind of whole pot better seen, better recognized for the hard work that it does, and people to be more excited about it. So I would say if you launch a referral program, I'm not a big fan of like having a community site and people like log in and then they can do a referral under this, and it's like too complicated. I would say that like keep your referral program on its own in isolation. And why is that? Is you want to embed it in your product. Like people don't really want to go to a portal. You want them to log into your product, get a link, be able to refer, like But I just think that like by launching a referral program, it can bring real meaningful results to the customer marketing stack. So if what you're doing is asking for reviews, asking for testimonials, asking maybe someone to do a survey, give you feedback, etc., like those are all great things, and those things need to continue to exist. But go ahead and also ask for referrals, because that way in your report at month end, when you're reporting, I guess, to your boss and your team, you can now say like, we got X engagements, we got this, and we also got X many leads. And leads is a number that everybody recognizes and everybody gives credit to. So I would say that like, it's a natural fit for a customer marketer to be able to handle the scope. generally we find when customer marketers start doing referrals, like they tend to get more happy because finally in their reporting, they can report on real revenue. And the minute you report on real revenue, actual, like we made this much money because of this referral program, like helps get you noticed a bit more in the company. So I find like we work a lot with customer marketers who have been spending a lot of time, as you're saying, building case studies, content, emailers, all these things that are, I feel, incredibly valuable, but just harder to track. And I find they love adding a referral program to the mix because it brings like trackable revenue to their stack. And that's usually a good thing for them.
Oh, brilliant. No, fantastic. And I lied a little bit. Just one more question. What is the thing that you wish marketers, particularly customer marketers, understood better about referrals? What is the mistake that you think that has been made at the moment?
That's a tough question. I think one of the biggest mistakes they make is it's looping back to the beginning of this conversation, is like they think referrals are just something that naturally happens and they don't do anything to like manufacture them. Is that the right word? Manufacture them. That's really something I've always like felt is like referral programs often are not creating word of mouth. They are capturing the word of mouth you're already getting, and they are like encouraging more word of mouth. If nobody likes your brand and everyone hates you, the best reward in the world isn't going to make them refer you. So I love referral programs and I love running Referral Factory because I get to work with all the best brands, like the brands that customers really love, customers already are engaging with. But I find like, often people think like this is like an organic channel that happens on its own and like whatever happens and we just hope we get some referrals. And they don't do the work. They kind of don't put in the effort to go and actively capture those referrals, reward them, and encourage them. And that's what I would say is like really sometimes missing, is that people think this is like referrals are as an organic channel that like you'll just get some and you have to be happy with what you get. It's absolutely not true. By actively asking for referrals and putting a real effort into promoting your referral program, you really will get a lot more. You will be able to capture the referrals you were already getting, rewarding those people, which then motivates them to refer more and more and more. Plus, you will be getting more referrals because now people know about this. They have a reason to go and share your brand. There's a reason for them to talk to their friend about you, to spread the word. So don't leave it up to chance. Do the work, and you'll be really surprised at the results, I promise.
Oh, honestly, Kirsty, this has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for that. I think this entire episode has been really practical, incredibly honest, and I don't think this is a conversation a lot of people are having. I think we need to be having more conversations like this. And actually, like I said, there's like a lot of misunderstandings about what actually goes into a referral program and why. So I think this has been a really valuable conversation. And yeah, I'm really excited to put it out there and let people hear it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I hope the listeners today can get some value out of that. And hopefully I can help more customer marketers get some revenue onto their scorecard that can get them all increases and promotions. Then I would have done my job.
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, no, completely. I think it'll definitely do that. And I think for everyone listening, I suppose if you want to explore Referral Factory, get your program started, you can head to referral-factory.com. I'll put all the relevant links in the show notes when this episode goes live. And I guess, Kirsty, if anyone wants to get in touch with you or connect with you, I'll make sure to provide the relevant details in the show notes as well. But where would you say is the best place for them to get in touch?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Kirsty Sharman on LinkedIn. You can find me there, or just pop me an email. I'm kirsty@referral-factory.com.
Perfect. There we go. I'll make sure all that relevant information was in the show notes so everyone can find it easily. But Kirsty, thank you so much. It's been a really fantastic conversation, really rewarding, and pun not intended. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Grace.
Thank you.